Hello everybody and welcome to week 3 of the 6-week Yamas and Niyamas yoga course. My name's Emma from Balance Works Yoga if you don't know already, and this week we're taking the last 2 Yamas before we move on to the Niyamas next week. So there's 5 of each. The last 2 are Brahmacharya and Aparigraha. I have to be careful how I pronounce these. Aparigraha. So starting with Aparigraha, it refers to sort of non-attachment and maybe a bit of non-greed or non-hoarding. Or you can turn it around and think about being able to let go of things, not holding on to things, if you like. So sometimes that's quite hard with things in our lives to not let go of them, especially when it's things we love. But it's also quite liberating if we're able to do it when it's things that we don't love so much, things that are maybe dragging us down and being a bit of a weight to us, to our lives. So it can refer to physical things. You might have a lot of things in your life, a lot of clutter that you maybe need to have a sort through and let go of some things. But it might also be, other emotional baggage as well, and things that happen in our lives. It can be all sorts of things. But ultimately it's kind of a reminder that the only thing we can really be sure of in this life is that everything changes and everything is temporary and nothing lasts forever. So getting our heads around that is quite tricky, but really thinking that if we're doing something, we're trying to do things for the sake of doing them, be here for the sake of being here rather than for the end goal. So trying to let go of the outcome of all of our actions, doing things for the sake of doing them. So with our yoga, trying to be present and get the very most out of a workout, doing it because it's good for us and it makes us feel great and we're a better version of ourselves really. Not for that end goal of a perfect pose or weight loss or super flexibility. Those sorts of things, that's a nice little gift at the end, but it's not, shouldn't be the reason we do it. And in our family, we often, I'm going to steal from my husband, he often says, put in the effort and let go of the outcome. So putting in the effort into anything you do, whether it is for a new job or a work assignment or an exam, but letting go of the outcome, because those things are often beyond your control. So putting in our effort, let go of the outcome is a really good thing to remember. And also Aparigraha reminds us to live in the now and appreciate what we have right now and not attaching to things, staying as they are, because they won't. The second one, Brahmacharya, has all sorts of meanings to it, but the best way to think of it is the right direction of our energy, trying to channel our energy into the right places and maybe having a think about where we might misuse our energy. Traditionally, hundreds of years ago, it referred to celibacy and sexual energy, but it's, that's maybe not quite as relevant now unless you're a monk. So thinking more about where we direct our energy. So think for a moment, and maybe throughout this practice or at some point today, where you put your energy. Do you spread yourself too thinly? Do you try and fit too much in so that you're just exhausted all the time and no good to anybody? Or are you thinking about where your energy goes? Is it going towards something good that's got a good cause for other people or for yourself? Or do you spend a lot of time scrolling on your phones? We often get into the trap of doing it, getting those distractions and then wasting some time doing that, not making ourselves feel better at the end of it. Or spending a lot of time trying to impress other people with the way we look or the way we have things in our house, or looking or behaving a certain way. And that's not really a great use of energy either, because it doesn't often end up with us feeling particularly great when we compare ourselves. So thinking about where we can better use our energy to create something good rather than spread ourselves too thinly. Okay, so those are little things to think about. They're the last 2 yamas. Next week we'll be starting the niyamas. Now to the practice. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to start in a seated position, so take a moment to get comfortable. You might want to sit on a blanket or a cushion or a block. It would be useful to have a couple of blocks for today's practice, or if you don't have blocks, then maybe a couple of quite big chunky books. We'll come to that later. But for now, just find a comfortable position where you can just begin to ground, slow things down. begin to just notice your breath. Just putting whatever's happened already today behind you, putting any to-do lists on hold, and just trying to bring ourselves to the present moment. Really using all of our yamas to really think about being present and making the most of our time on the mat. Using the inhale to sit nice and tall, and the exhale to relax the shoulders, relax the muscles on the face, relax the hands. They might be on your knees or your lap, wherever you like. Just take a minute to notice how you're feeling physically today. Any areas to be aware of in your body. I'm just going to start with a gentle bit of breath work using our arms to mirror the movement. So starting with your hands in your lap, your palms facing upwards. We're going to inhale and bring them upwards. Inhale to the top of our heads, maybe just above our crown chakra, and then exhale as we draw it down. And repeat. Inhale up and exhale down. As you inhale, drawing the hands up, mirroring your breath, feeling full and light, and exhale, bringing the hands down, feeling empty, grounded. And again, inhale, finding space at the top, and exhale all the way down, finding a moment of stillness at the bottom. One more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Bring the arms out to the side. Take a big inhale, reaching up, getting a good stretch. Bringing the hands together and bring them to our heart center. We're going to take the breath outwards now. So we're going to inhale and open up the arms to the sides. And exhale, draw it in a bit like we did last week. Inhale, open. So finding the fullness of the breath, and exhale, squeezing it out. Drawing ourselves in. Inhale, open. And exhale in. One more. Inhale, open. Hold for a moment, just sending the thumbs backwards, opening the palms. And exhale. Draw in, squeeze the air out. Bring our hands to our knees. Just going to start a few circles with the hips, just nice and gently. Just creating some little circles to begin to notice all the sensations down your legs. Circling with the ribs, the shoulders, allowing everything to come into the movement and then change direction. You choose the size of the circles. Just checking you're not holding tension in the shoulders. Just trying to ease into everything. Begin to lubricate the joints. And then come upright, going to do a few nose circles. So just like you've got a pen on the end of your nose and you're drawing a little circle or a little spiral, you choose the size of the circle. You can keep eyes closed if you like. Maybe getting a little bit bigger, chance to check in with your neck. And then back to center, change direction, starting nice and small. You choose the pace. You might want to go nice and slow. Slower the better. Something you know I find hard. If you can take all the movements nice and steady and slow in yoga, you're doing a good thing. Awesome, back to center and just a few shoulder rolls. Just start to move them slowly. Got a good couple of movements today and poses using the arms and shoulders, so lots of warming up of the shoulders. Going to have a little work through Chaturanga, a little look at all the modifications there, and also a little L-sit at the end, or Brahmacharya. Have a little look at that as well, giving lots of options as usual. Okay, we will be coming to a tabletop position, so slide your legs underneath you, take your time getting there, and just noticing the ground, just beginning to find your foundation, spreading the fingers, pressing down with the tops of the feet. Making sure we're nicely stacked, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And maybe just draw the belly in a little bit here, beginning to separate the shoulders so we're not dumping pressure through our lower back. Just a little bit of a round of the back here, maybe a little sway from side to side, opening the shoulders. And to warm them up. You might want to find whatever movement you like here. If you want to come into a little bit of cat-cow as well, rounding the back and checking in with the spine. Maybe a few little hip circles. Really checking in with your body, your back, your shoulders and your wrists. Whenever we have our hands down on the mat like this, really spreading the fingertips out, distributing the weight so we don't tire through the wrists. Awesome. From here, we're going to send the fingertips outwards, facing the outside of the mat, and then maybe take them a little bit further so they're just almost off the mat. And we're just going to lean, kind of rock to one side, extending maybe our left arm, bending the right, and then lean over to the other side, extending the right arm. I'll show you from the front. So nice wide arms here. Lean into your right arm, extending the left, and then lean into the other one. On the exhale, inhale, ripple over. You might want nice sort of wide knees for this. See if you can get a little bit lower, just feeling a nice stretch through the shoulders. You choose how low you go. You don't need to get your shoulder to the floor, but if you want to and it feels okay, you check in with your shoulder flexibility. Don't push it in it, don't push anything, just a nice enough stretch. Warming up the shoulders. Lovely. Okay, bringing our hands back to center. We're going to do a little thread the needle. So I'm going to send our left arm out to the side. Take an inhale and exhale. Thread it through underneath the right. Slide it along the floor. Keeping the hips up nice and high. Maybe sending the right fingertips to the top of the mat. Your head can be on the mat, or you can always have a cushion or a block underneath you. Take a couple of big breaths here. Option to reach the right fingertips up in the air, or maybe finding a bind, finding your left hip crease. You choose what feels like a nice stretch for you wherever you are. Take a nice deep breath and exhale, relaxing the shoulders, and then slide the hand under your shoulders, easing your way out of it again, coming back to tabletop. Making adjustments you need. Inhale, lift the right arm out to the side. Inhale, exhale, sweep it under nice and steady. Reaching out, coming down onto that shoulder, onto the side of your head, maybe extending the left fingertips up to the top of the mat, or you can always be a bit higher on a block if you've got a block. I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. I might come in a minute. So reaching out. Excuse me, there you go. Told you. Let's hope there's no more. And then option here to reach up with the left fingertips up into the air if that feels good. Maybe finding your right hip crease. A couple of deep breaths. Excuse me. And then back to our tabletop. Oh dear. Okay, so once we're back in tabletop, we're just going to really think about getting a nice lot of integrity through the body, really sort of thinking about our posture here. As I said before, stacking the joints, spreading the fingertips, maybe sending our index fingers to the top of the mat. So a little outward rotation with the hands there. That helps with the positioning, a little outward rotation in our elbows. And then we're going to really draw the navel in a little bit here. Make sure our shoulders are away from our ears, and making sure that we've got a nice active back body. Our tops of our feet are on the ground, so we're pushing down the tops of our feet, making sure our shoulders are over our wrists, and we're just going to really push through our fingertips and maybe see about and activate our core, draw the core in, and see if we can just lift our knees off the mat for a moment. Maybe a second, maybe two, and then lower them down. I'm going to try that one more time. Let's get your position. If you want to make any adjustments, spread the fingertips, push the ground away, round the back slightly, draw the belly in, activate everything, and inhale, lift up. See if we can take a couple of breaths here and then lower down. Let's just sit back in a kneeling position and give our arms a little rest for a moment. Our shoulders, our wrists, really important to look after them in between when we're doing shoulder or any arm work. Just giving them a nice release. They might ache a little bit afterwards, but that is our body just beginning to strengthen, which is normally a good sign. So lots of nice stretches. Maybe you want to draw shoulder across the body like this. It's another nice stretch, just drawing the shoulder blade back slightly. Send the fingertips upwards, reaching upwards, and then bending at the elbow, finding maybe the back of our head, just finding a nice stretch all the way up through our arm. And then release. Let's send the opposite arm over the other side now. Drawing the shoulder back slightly. Inhale, reach it all the way up. And then bend at the elbow. Seeing where it wants to come to, maybe upper back. Opening out the chest here. Getting a nice stretch and then relaxing the hands. Okay, so we'll come back into our tabletop. Draw the belly in. And this time we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to come up into a downward facing dog. So tuck the toes. Nice spread of the fingertips again. Distributing the weight through the hands, lift the knees, keeping the knees bent. We're going to draw our hips backwards, bring the weight through our heels, trying to keep nice and low, belly to thighs, and then maybe extend, like pedal the legs a little bit here, extending one and then the other. First down dog, so take your time. Lots of deep breaths, lots of nice slow movement. Feeling a stretch down the back of each leg. Maybe bending both knees and see if you can just sink a little bit lower. Nice long arms, long back. Relax the neck, just do a little yes and no. Take a deep inhale and a long exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. Okay, we're going to look forward to our hands. Going to come on our toes and walk our toes, keeping our hips nice and high. All the way to our hands and then lower our heels. Finding our fold. Maybe bending the knees here, bringing our belly a bit closer to our thighs again, relaxing the arms, maybe finding a little sway, relaxing the neck a little bit here as well, just feeling the sensation of just letting go of tension of our arms. Bit generous bend of the knees, or you can begin to straighten them as long as that doesn't bring you all the way up here. One more big breath. And then on the next inhale, going to slowly roll up. Keep the knees nice and bent here. Rolling up, drawing the belly in, stacking the vertebrae. Head to come up last. Roll of the shoulders when we're there. And just loosen things up. Take a moment to get your bearings. If you're feeling a bit dizzy, maybe you just want to shake things out a little bit. Sway the arms from side to side. Again, just really loosening in our arms. Okay, we're going to, there we go. Going to do a little warrior sequence just to take the pressure off our arms for a moment and give us legs a little bit of a strengthen and warm up. So come to the top of our mat. And again, just turn attention to your feet. Just check you're nice and stable through your feet. I like to just have a little up and down onto the balls of my feet and then back down, maybe lifting the toes, spreading them out. Awesome. Then we're going to step our left foot back, pelvis facing the front of the mat, coming into warrior one. Again, just nice straight and strong back leg, little bend in the front knee, just a little draw in of the navel here, so we're not doing that little putting the pressure through our lumbar spine. Whenever we're in a warrior position, just really think about drawing the navel in to try and keep everything long so we don't get an achy back at the end of it. Going to reach forwards with our hands, take a big inhale as we lift them up above our heads, and exhale, cactus our arms, get a nice open chest, squeezing the shoulders, oh, lovely, and then finding our lower back or interlacing the fingers wherever they'll go here. Take a little round of the shoulders, inhale, open the chest. If your fingers are interlaced, maybe draw them downwards. Again, just tuck the belly in a little bit here, tuck the chin as we're going to exhale and come into humble warrior, leaning forwards, hinging from the hip. Going to inhale, just lifting up slightly here, tucking the chin to get a nice long back. Exhale, go a little bit deeper. Maybe if your fingers are interlaced, you're lifting them up to get a little bit more depth, or they can stay on your hips, whatever feels good. Next inhale, we're going to lift back up, nice strong legs staying in the same position. Going to let go of our hands and send the left fingertips forwards, just reaching forwards, doing a nice big circle as we follow our fingertips backwards and pivot on our back foot, coming into warrior two. So now our back foot is 90-degree angle. You might want to make some adjustments here. Warrior two legs. Again, just a little tuck of the tailbone, lengthen the back, bring the arms in if you like. And again, just checking they're nice and soft. A little bit of a floaty arm movement. That's what I like to do, just to check the shoulders nice and relaxed and away from the ears. But activity through the fingertips, so reaching through. A little bend in that front knee. Going to inhale, flip the front palm, keeping the legs the same. We're going to send it upwards, reaching upwards into reverse warrior. Inhale, allow the left arm just to relax. And then exhale, we're going to windmill back through. And then we're going to bring our hand, keep on going, or our forearm to the front knee, coming into side angle. So just a little side angle to begin with. Don't worry where the arm goes, just you choose what feels good. Inhale. And exhale, we're going to come back up. So we're going to go between the two. Reverse warrior, keeping the legs the same. Inhale and exhale, lean forward, spiral through, hand or forearm to the front knee. Lovely. Inhale up. 2 more times. Let's find a flow. Exhale. Go at your own pace. Exhale. Awesome. Next time we come back up, relax the arms, take a little bend in the back knee, just bring ourselves back up to the top of our mat, give things a little shake out. You know, I like a little shake out as well. Don't worry what it looks like. Shaking is great for just resetting everything in the body. Okay, we're going to go on the other side this time. So I'm actually going to turn to the other end of my mat and we're going to step back with the right foot, 45-degree angle at the back, and pelvis facing the front. Little tuck of the tailbone here, just drawing the belly in. Bend in the front knee if you can, finding your stability. You should be on tram lines rather than a tightrope here. Make sure you're nice and strong like a warrior. Going to reach forward with our hands, leaning forwards, shoulders away from our ears. Inhale up, like you're picking up a big beach ball, and exhale, cactus the arms. Get that lovely squeeze and opening of the chest. Find our lower back or interlace the fingers and draw them down towards our bottom. Open the chest here. Take an inhale, but then we're going to draw the belly in. Going to tuck the chin and exhale, trying to keep a nice long back as we come down into humble warrior. Inhale, lift a little bit here, lengthen the back. Exhale, keeping a nice bend in that front knee, seeing how low you want to go. Relax the head. And then inhale, engaging the core, drawing yourself back up. Release the hands, send the right fingertips forwards, draw a lovely big circle all the way behind you, just the back foot. Bring ourselves into warrior two. Pelvis facing the side of the mat now, so we've gone from the front to the side. Same thing with the legs, nice and strong, and knees tracking the toes. Arms can come up, a little float, draw the belly in. Gaze down the front fingertips, flip the front palm, inhale, reverse warrior, relax the right arm. Inhale, lift, exhale, we move back through. We're going to keep on going all the way to side angle, hand or forearm on your front knee. Let the right arm just reach where it wants to go, taking a big inhale into the side body and exhale, back up. Let's do this 3 more times. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, reverse. Nice and steady, lots of control. Our warrior poses, trying to reflect the power and strength, resilience of a warrior. How many have I done? One more. And back up. With the calm and the poise, the kind of ease as well of the mindset, so we're not all stressed. So calm, collected, Relax the hands, take a bend in the back knee and bring ourselves gently to the top of our mats. And just again, if you want to just lift up the legs, just a little bit of a marching action just gives our back a little extension as well. Awesome stuff. Okay, we'll be coming back down to the mat for a little bit of Chaturanga practice. So we're going to come to the top of our mat, going to inhale, take a nice deep inhale, reaching up, and exhale, we're going to fold, hinge from the hip, leaning forwards, coming to our fold. Let's inhale, come to a half lift, lengthen the back, tuck the chin, exhale, bend the knees, bring our hands to the mat. We're just going to heel toe our feet outwards and just come into a little bit of a squat here. Just begin to lower the hips, maybe opening to one side, just taking more of a bend in one knee and then the other. So just having a little, almost like a froggy position with our fingertips down, just easing ourselves in. And if you're up here, that's fine as well. Just whatever depth, just beginning, the more you do this, the more flexibility you get in your knees, your feet, your hips. You can always hold onto a block or anything else. And maybe you can find just a moment of balance, a moment of stillness, maybe prayer position, using the elbows just to widen the squat a little bit here. Lovely. Then we're going to bring our hands to the mat and step back to a tabletop. So back to our tabletop position. In fact, just sit back on your knees for a moment. I just want to show you a couple of little variations so that we can build up to the Chaturanga. Because as you know, often it's used in a sun salutation. It's used in a lot of Ashtanga and Vinyasa sequences where we're keeping the flow going when you're coming down to your belly. And people often say Chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. There's different ways of beginning to lower yourself down to the mat. So the full Chaturanga is obviously starting from this like plank position, which might be not accessible to you. So if it's not, we can bring the knees down and do everything from a half plank position, but everything else really is the same. The knees, chest, chin is slightly different because that involves bringing your knees down, which are already down, and then the chest and the chin with the butt still up in the air, so the hips are still high, which gives you a little bit of a back bend. My mic's still working down there. And then you need to ripple down and you lower yourself down that way. So that's another option, but it's quite a different exercise because that's got a bit more spinal flexion going on there. So we're just going to practice the main Chaturanga and the Chaturanga modification. So we're just going to come back to our tabletop position again and just have another little go at the hovering dog. Really good for strengthening the shoulders and getting ourselves ready. Good preparation. So finding a nice strong tabletop, pressing down the tops of our feet, stacking the joints, spreading the fingertips, sending them out the side slightly so our index fingers are pointing to the top of the mat. Going to draw the belly in towards our spine, round the shoulders ever so slightly, just parting the shoulders. Oh, bless you, now my dog's sneezing. Oh, what's got up your nose, darling? Oh dear, maybe I need to do some dusting or not. Okay, so from here we're going to come to hovering cat again. We're going to press down to the tops of our feet, spreading our fingertips, gripping with our fingertips, and just inhale. As we exhale, lift the knees off. See if we can hold it for a couple of seconds, or 1 second's fine, and then lower down. You can always sit back and have a little stretch, little child's pose in between. And let's do that one more time. Spreading the fingertips back to tabletop. Inhale, lift the knees. Again, just drawing the shoulders away from you, keeping a nice strong back, open back, rather than sinking anything down or collapsing shoulders. And then back on our knees. Sit back in a kneeling position and just roll the shoulders for a moment. Give them a nice rest in between. Lovely. And then we will come more into like a half plank position. So our hands need to be a bit further forward here. But again, we want to pivot them outwards slightly, pivot them outwards so that we get the outward rotation, and then we're able to hug our elbows in as we come down, because what we don't want is them coming out to the side. That's not a Chaturanga. It's a different kind of exercise. So we want to send the fingertips outward slightly, a little outward rotation, and then you'll find that they should hug in and you get a bit more stability. The other thing we need to be aware of here is whether you're in a full plank or a half plank, is that we need to almost like lean slightly forwards first, so that when we bend our elbows slightly, we keep our joints stacked. So not bending our elbows and our elbows going backwards, because then our weight's going to go backwards, going to collapse down. We want to be a little bit forwards so that we can bend and then come up again. So starting on our knees, walking out to a half plank, lowering our hips a little bit, but drawing the belly in, getting that nice long plank-like position. Making sure your hands are in the right position here, drawing the shoulders away, pressing down, and then we're going to bend the elbows, making sure they're nice and stacked, and then come up again. And then we can just sit back in a child's pose. And we're going to repeat that 3 times. Going to rock forwards, take a little bend halfway, back up, and sit back. And again, forwards, bend, hugging the elbows in, and then back up. One more, coming forwards. It's your choice if you want to go on to tuck toes and come into a full plank, coming down halfway, back up again, knees down, child's pose. Stretch those arms out. And then maybe slide them alongside your body and just get a nice relax of the shoulders. Take a couple of breaths here. Really giving your shoulders a bit of a break. Maybe a little rock, massage the forehead at the same time. And then slide the hands underneath the shoulders and slowly roll back up to the kneeling position. If any of this is too much, even if you're just in a tabletop and you're beginning to bend the elbows and get used to strengthening the shoulders here, anything like that is great. We're still working on the same muscles. Okay, so I'm just going to do this one more time. So we can either choose a half plank, you can have the legs in the air if you like, just for fun, or you can tuck the toes and come into a full plank. This time we'll see if we can lower ourselves all the way down, so we're hovering off the mat. So choose your plank position to start with, spread the fingertips, do the little checklist, drawing the belly in, lowering the hips, squeezing the elbows in, hugging them in as we lower down, and see if we can lower all the way down to the mat, and then we can let everything come down all the way down. And then we're going to come into a little cobra, a little baby cobra. You choose. So up we go. And exhale. Let's create a pillow with our hands and just rock out our back. Gives us a little break here. Lovely. Now coming up, go in reverse. We need to slide our hands underneath our shoulders again, so we're stacked. Tuck the toes. I'm going to lift up slightly with the chest, activating the core, and then see if we can lift the hips up. Lovely. And then option to come into little child's pose if you just want another little stretch here. Or maybe a little child's pose with a thread the needle. So lift slightly and send the right arm underneath the left, getting a nice stretch in this shoulder, which is what it needs now. And then lifting up slightly, maybe having a bit slightly wider knees here helps you get down a bit further. Sending the left arm underneath, extending the right arm out, and taking a couple of breaths here, stretching out the left arm, left shoulder. Relax the left hand, palm facing upwards. Nice deep breath. Slide the hand under your shoulder and come back to a kneeling position. You can either stay kneeling or sit on a block or come into a cross-leg position. Just going to inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bring our hands down. We're going to interlace the fingers and push them away from us. Inhale, draw them upwards. Exhale, release. And come back to prayer position. So called circle of joy, this one more time. So inhale. Interlace the fingers, push them away, round the back a little bit. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Squeeze the shoulders, rain the fingertips down, and a little roll the shoulders. So you can do that as many times as you need to really sort of open up, and it's supposed to feel quite joyful, hence circle of joy. Okay, we will be coming down onto our bottoms now for the last little section, which is our sort of L-sit section, which is another little challenging position, great for the shoulder strength. So nice strong session today. If you've got blocks, they will be useful in a moment, because the full L-sit position requires us to sort of lift ourselves off the mat, and often this is quite challenging if you haven't done it before. So some sort of chunky books or blocks either side of you here would be good. We're just going to start by bringing our hands and tent our fingertips, walk them so it's kind of alongside of our knees, and we're just going to have a go at lifting up one foot and then the other foot, then down, so nice and long here. You can actually slide your fingertips back, might be a bit easier if they're here. It's lifting one leg, and then the other, and the other one, and down. It's lifting it up, see if you can hold it, bringing it down. And again, up, and down. Just take a moment to check that you're sitting in a nice L-like position. So if you're beginning to round here, you might want to just sit on a cushion or something here. Just trying to find your sit bones, sitting nice and tall, engaging the core so we're not slouching down here, really trying to sit nicely stacked. It's easier with your fingers alongside you, harder with them a bit further. So maybe just draw them alongside your hips here. And again, lifting up, lowering down, lifting one up, lowering down. If you prefer to have a little bend in the knee, that's fine as well. One more on each side. You choose where the fingertips are, a bit more challenge by your knees, because that's where, the hip flexor's really working here. Awesome. Okay, bring the fingertips back alongside your hips now. Option to either continue just lifting one or the other, or press down with your fingertips, sitting nice and tall here, drawing the belly in, and seeing if you can just lift both up and really drawing the belly in here. Maybe you come into more of a boat position, or maybe you can lift both up, really trying to sit nice and upright. Try not to slouch. If you feel you're slouching, just come back to one and then the other. Just feeling a bit of a burn through our quads now. Awesome. Let's just hug our knees in. Maybe butterfly our knees for a moment. And just have a little rock. Give them a little stretch out. You might even want to just extend your legs and just give your quads a little bit of a gentle pummel. Awesome. Okay, again, checking in with our L position, our like staff pose first of all. Bit of a flex with the feet, so we've got lots of activity. And then we're going to have a go at being able to lift our bottom off the ground, which obviously is quite hard, especially if we're in this upright position. Things that make it easier is having blocks alongside us or books, so that's a great place to start. Also, taking a little fold and bringing ourselves forward. So instead of hunching forwards, just thinking about hinging from the hip, leaning forward slightly. You can have a little micro bend here. Placing our hands down, again, just pivot out. So we're really pushing through our index finger, spreading the fingertips. And as we come up, really drawing sort of shoulders away from us, activating everything in the shoulders, and just seeing if we can press down and lift our hips off the ground. And then down again. They might come off a little bit, they might not come off at all, that's fine, just as long as you're activating. Okay, so just having a little go of that, a little bit of up and down, maybe you can hold it for a bit longer. Leaning forwards. Also, I find the hips sometimes come backwards, that's fine as well. So just planting hands down, take a big inhale, lift up, and then exhale, and then down. Give them a little jiggle in between. Let's try one more. Let's see if we can hold it. Press down. And up we go. And then down again. So that's awesome place to start. And I can already feel my quads really on fire here. So again, if you just want to, you can hug them in for a moment. Just whatever you need to do to give them a stretch out. Relax them for a moment. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Also just checking in with your wrists and your shoulders. So this is a really active pose, everything working. We're going to do that one more time, and you can either just stay by lifting, seeing if your bottom will come off the ground a little bit, or if you do, and also thinking about the position of our blocks. We don't want them right alongside us, that's a lot harder to lift. We want them somewhere in between our knee and our hips, so somewhere about here. And again, if we get that little fold first, we can get that bit of bend in our arms, then we can got a bit more lift. Okay, so one more time, but this time, once we're up, see if you can lift one leg and then maybe the other. So leaning forwards, engage the core, engage everything in our hands and shoulders, push away, lift up, and then see if you can maybe lift one leg, maybe the other, and down again. And then whenever you've had enough, lower yourself down slowly. Maybe lean back a little bit here, give your legs a little jiggle. And we'll just do that one more time. You choose your variation. It might be that you just want to stay lifting them, keeping your bottom on the ground at the moment, especially if you've got any issues with the shoulders. Otherwise, hands on the block. Lean forwards a little bit here, keeping a nice long back. Press down, flex the feet, lift up. See if you can hold it for another moment. Maybe lifting one leg, maybe the other, maybe eventually both. I'm still working on my journey, and then slowly lowering down. Awesome stuff. What we're going to do here is bend the knees, shuffle our bottom down the mat so we can lie down, ease ourselves down gently, gently. And then we're going to make sure our feet are nice and wide, our knees bent, and just windscreen wiper the legs here. Awesome. Just allowing the arms to be long, palms downwards. Just allow a lovely stretch as they lean over to one side and then the other. Feeling that stretch down your quads. Beginning to slow things down a bit. Quite an intense burst to the practice, so it's nice to have these challenges, things to really lock us in the present moment, things to challenge us, but also really important to just look after the body afterwards. Give it lots of nourishing stretches. Lovely. Okay, we're going to send the left leg long and just hug the right knee in. Pull it in, feel a nice stretch. Maybe have your hands behind your thigh and extend that leg up to the ceiling. Point and flex the foot. And rebend. And we're going to take our left hand to the right knee and just gently encourage it over the side of the mat, over the other side of the mat, getting this lovely twist. Sending the right arm out to the side. Oops. Finding a lovely twist here, just maybe bump the hips over slightly so we can get into a beautiful twist. Big inhale and exhale, maybe gazing to the right arm, whatever feels good. Adjust yourself into this position. One more big breath. And then come back up to center, extend the right leg, hug the left knee in. Oh, that feels good. And then slide the hands behind the left thigh or knee, or wherever it comes to, and push the heel away. Maybe a little rock here. Rebend the knee, take your right hand to the outer edge of your left knee and gently encourage over. You should feel that lovely stretch down through your quads and your hips. Maybe shuffle the hips over, send the left fingertips out the side. Make sure your shoulders are nicely nestled into the ground. Your left knee can come wherever it wants to. You don't need to force it. Use gravity here. Take a deep breath in through the side body and exhale. Oh, relax. Love the stretches afterwards. They feel so good. And slowly come back to a central position. Let's hug both knees in here. Maybe cross the feet, have a little rock from side to side. Taking a moment to maybe think while you're lying here where you direct your energy to. Do you spread yourself too thinly through the day, or are there areas where you maybe give too much energy that you can maybe make some changes? Trying to send your energy to areas, places that are beneficial, that feel good for you or for others. Things that are a bit more longer lasting maybe than temporary pleasures, such as using, buying things, going on our phone, eating food or whatever as ways to make ourselves feel better. Trying to find things that are a bit more longer lasting. And then slowly bring our feet down to the mat. And you can keep the knees bent here if you like, feet wide, knees touching, as we just find a nice relaxing position just to finish our practice. Or you can extend one leg and then the other. Made me jump. Why are we sneezing, Harry? Not the most relaxing thing to be happening above my head. And whenever you're ready, taking some nice deep breaths. Just trying to relax from the top of your body. Pay attention around your upper back, your shoulders, all the way down your arms. Feeling them become heavy and relaxed into the mat. Making any adjustments you need so you're really comfortable here. Take some nice big full breaths. And using the exhale to soften down our back, our hips, our legs, our feet. Making sure you're not holding tension in your face, your jaw, your tongue in the roof of your mouth. Just make sure it's relaxed. Maybe your lips slightly part. As you come to this really special time with yourself, just being aware of your body feeling heavy and relaxed. Stay here for as long as you like. Have a lovely week. Namaste.